Hey,
I actually
everybody.
have that much hair today.
I'm Lex.
I'm Katie.
And for PDQ.com, we're going to take you through being able to access and use efficiently
Yes.
multiple central servers.
Yep, the easy way, not the hard way.
The easy way.
Less
Okay, so
tears.
that's the big thing. Less tears.
Yes.
I just woke up this morning crying like,
I can't help with those tears, though.
yeah, okay, that's a good point. It won't. But that being said, Katie's done some great prep. Let's just jump in.
Yeah, sure. So,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, multiple central servers. We're thinking, like, if you are an MSP or a one-man shop, you got, like, multiple distinct clients, or you have multiple multiple sites that are connected back to a main site with a slow link. We have
got
an
you
easy way
covered.
to switch between them.
Now, just to kind of set the stage for you guys, we've got Tycho, which happens to be the light blue background. You can
Yep.
help me with these colors, I hope, because
Yeah, we have light blue.
we've
And
got.
Series went to sleep
So
yet.
this is our console that we're going to be able to hook up with Illis. Am I even saying that right?
Yep.
Thank you. And then Series, which we lost connectivity to. We're going to
Cool.
get that connectivity running. But basically, what we're going to do is we're going to work on one, and then we're going to run a script, and we'll be able to work on the other. And Josh, any thoughts on that?
Just kind of like Katie said, I think this is good if you've got a lot of sites with slow links.
Absolutely.
You want to segregate access control.
That's a big one.
That's a huge one. Like if you've got a technician at a site, but you want to have oversight and be able to connect to a bunch of different things.
So he can't get
Yeah.
to your stuff, but you can get to his?
Exactly.
Okay. And then another thought, this is the one that gets me because I'm always talking to people who run stuff across time zones. You can set one up local, and then you don't have to worry about schedules running across time zones and doing the math.
Yeah, no more offset, no time offset, especially like daylight saving time. You're like, oh no, am I going to reboot computers an hour early?
Yeah,
Something like
good
that.
point. Good point. Okay, so how do we
Yeah.
make this happen, Katie?
Cool. So we've got Tycho. I mean, imagine if you're one person and you move to a bunch of different places. Tycho is going to be our machine that moves around to connect to different central servers around the different sites. And then we've got one of our servers. The other one, it's just a Windows 10 machine. It went to sleep, which is my bad for doing this live. Apparently, I forgot to tell it not to go to sleep. Good job.
Well,
We've got one of our servers, Illis, over here. And then this is our console machine. And then Sirius is here with us in spirit.
okay. So, hey,
So-
Josh, any chance you can get Sirius to fire back up for us?
Yep. Let me get
Thanks
working
so
on
much,
that.
man. Okay, that being said, so how do main things you got to think about, and the first thing that comes to mind for me, Katie, is credentials.
Yep.
Because
Definitely.
obviously, I've either got to have enterprise domain level, or there's a better way. What do you think?
So we're going to use local credentials because it just simplifies everything. You don't have to worry about DNS as quite as much. You don't have to worry about Active Directory trusts and complicated things. So I've got Tycho here is logged in with, can't use the start button, crippled.
Oh no.
Yep, so we're logged in here. We're in the web domain, and we're logged in with Quintana.
Okay.
We're going to practice running a couple different scenarios. So on our central servers, this is the way that you're going to want to configure them. First, we're going to go to Options and Background Service to check the background service user.
Okay, this matters that you do this on the central server, and then your console will need to match it. So
Yep.
we're setting this up central server area.
Yep, so on Illis, we have the background service user running as administrator. It's a local account that exists on Illis. It's got to exist also on your mobile console machine. So this exists over on Tycho as well. We've got another account in play on Sirius called Vincent, and Vincent exists also on Tycho. So you want to make sure that your background service user is the same. Got our local user here, and is a console user. So as you know, the background service user is always a console user, and then we have the console launched as my account. So we're good here.
So the default, that background service, I know occasionally you're going to have issues. You got to make sure that your inventory and you deploy your background service match, right? That takes care of issues. What do you end up running into if they don't match sometimes?
If your background services don't use, you try to connect as a client console machine, and you'll get a prompt to say, "Hey, you don't have permission to do this."
Okay.
Enter the background service user.
So make sure inventory and deploy get those background services to match.
Yep. So we've got that. We were actually going to configure the services on Sirius who went to sleep. So we went
Josh
over
will
those.
let us
So
know when we can jump on that one, right?
but we can
Yeah, I'm
configure-
working on it, guys. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
So let's go over the script. Because
Okay.
this is, rather than manually clicking through the prompts, you can obviously do this if you take your laptop around to the different sites. You can get to all of this through
Yeah.
preferences.
I'm shaking
and
my
change
head not
everything.
because you can't do it, but why in the world would you ever want to do that? That is
I mean,
such a pain.
You gotta maintain, like, you gotta log into Windows with the thing, or you gotta shift right click on the icon and run deploy an inventory as a different user. And it's more complicated than it needs to be. So,
Absolutely. So script, we've got that on Quintana here, right?
yep, I put it over here because it's big enough to see. It's a little easier to see.
Now, again, you need to have central server mode set up, and of course on Quintana we've got the client mode set up to look at those. Or are we going to do that here?
We're gonna do that here.
We're going to do that here.
Yeah. So these are the scripts. I'm just showing them on our machine that we use for the webcasts. We're going to pop back over to Taika where I've saved them as PS1s to run a little bit easier. You need to run these as administrator. So either open the ISE as an administrator or open PowerShell as an administrator, run the script as an administrator. Whatever happens, you want to run deploy an inventory as administrator.
Absolutely.
You see it every day. So we're going to do two things. First, we're going to make sure that deploy and inventory are both running in client mode. If you're not running in client mode, you'll run into an issue where deploy and inventory will just launch and use a local database if they were in server or local mode, which if you're trying to do this and you keep running it and you're like, that's my same database, what the heck?
Look where you
Got to do this.
Client.
So you can set there's a lot of settings for deploy and inventory that happen in the registry. Before you go cowboy and set them all in the registry, maybe pop it open and poke around. So in this location, we've got a value called client. This sets it to client mode. And then we're also going to specify which server to connect to, the server host name, and we're going to pass it Illis.
Again, if you guys look, obviously we're an HKey local machine,
Yep.
software admin arsenal, PDQ deploy, or PDQ inventory. Obviously, we'll go through that. The other
Yep,
thing
in
is,
here.
what if I didn't use the default ports? Can I also set that here?
You sure can. The value is called, let's see, server port.
Okay.
All one
So
word.
you just add another line in there, just
Yep,
change server port to
and
whatever.
then pass it whatever port you used. So if you're not using 6336 or 7337, then you can add another line just like these two and pass in the port number.
Hey guys, your other server's back up.
Oh, excellent.
Oh, you're magic. I should have.
Magic. Okay, so while Katie's firing that up, the question I had, you're going to do this with inventory, you're going to do this with deploy. They need to match, okay? If you don't use the default ports, obviously you got to fill the ports in here. Is it a good idea? I mean, really to just, I'm a little apprehensive about just digging in on the registry and changing it. Is there an easy way to get it back if you mess it up?
You could make a backup of it, sure. But you can always. The nice thing about deploying inventory is you've got all your config mostly in the database. So if you mess up the registry, especially for deploying inventory, back and uninstall, reinstall, you're kind of back to the same place.
Now, if you did go and put it in local mode and then go back to client, you can reset it there too, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so it's, you could mess it up. Honestly, guys, it's pretty easy to put back if you do. So, and yeah, should we hit a question?
Sure.
All right, guys, let's start us off. When I import a folder from deploy to another deploy console, I will get a new folder, folder 2. Any way to overwrite the old? Thanks, Billy H.
Billy H. Now, I'm just going to make an assumption here. Let's say we're copying a report folder or a
Or
folder
folder full of
named
packages.
whatever
Yeah.
package folder, packages to a folder called packages. They don't merge, so you're always going to get that number 2 in there. So
You can't have obviously you can't have two things named the same thing, so you'll have folder and folder 2. If you really want to truly overwrite it, just delete folder before you import folder 2,
There you
and
go.
folder 2 won't have that 2 appended. Or if you want to merge them, drag everything in and then delete the extra one.
there you go. Excellent. So credentials here.
Yeah.
Should we jump back? Okay, credentials
so-
on series. Thank you, Josh.
Series is the one that I didn't set up. We were going to use it as an example, so I got to hurry and fix it so that it's going to work and we don't get errors.
With that, other reasons to do this, right? So we've got time zones. We've got like slow links.
Yeah, so links. Like
Yeah.
typically we recommend let's do DFS.
Absolutely.
Then you're not passing your packaging traffic, copying source files and Office and Autodesk over your
Yep.
board feed.
But you are still passing scan data
Yeah.
over those.
Well, the other
It's only a
thing
couple megabytes, but it adds up.
to think about is this, right? If DFS is not an option for you and you want to do deployments locally from that would be place you do
Yeah,
that.
you kind of get these other servers out at your remote sites as a point of presence.
Oh, before you
And
say
then you
that.
can get them out there to be deploying and scanning from there. Or maybe you just don't have like server licensing, because that can get expensive.
Yeah, you don't. Not everybody has licenses to just chuck a server in a closet over in.
Exactly for
Kathmandu.
DFS, but everybody's probably got some desktop floating around that they can shove into a closet, and that's your deploy server.
Yeah, even
there.
if it's like Janice's old machine that's sitting over there in the corner.
I love it. I love it.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're going to jump back. We're ready here. So setting the local admin password. Again, you went to options.
Background service. We got a chance to do it in inventory too. So
Okay.
So this was previously set up with my domain account, which is what we're logged in with. So we're gonna change that over to Vincent, our local user that we set up.
And then we'll do the same thing with inventory again.
Yep.
So in inventory, we'll jump up to options.
Options, background service. Change.
Again, keep those things matching so you don't have token issue stuff. Am I even saying that right?
Well, it's easier with those local accounts, especially if you're going to traverse domains. You're not
There it
having to
is.
worry about like Active Directory trusts, things like that.
Absolutely. So match those. Match those.
And in this case, you're going to have one central server per site that you're going to be changing between. So you've got a local account that exists on those and your own client machine. So
Okay,
it's
so
not
this-
like you got to go into just push that out to your entire environment and have one random local account. So
Exactly. Again, so this is the pre-setup so that these scripts are going to run and help you out.
yep. So the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to make sure that everybody has a console user. So obviously that's where I was before. Same thing before. Our background service user is a console user, and we're a console user. So all is well there.
Thumbs up.
Yep.
If you're not a console user, the first time you go to run this, you're going to get prompted for the background service password.
Yep, it'll complain and be like, "Hey, you're
You
not a
sure
console
you know
user.
what
You
you're
need
doing?"
permission from this background service user."
Absolutely.
So we went over. We've got two scripts here. Actually, this isn't one whole script. This is just in here for illustration purposes. I've got them saved separately. So this top one is what happens if you're launching the console as the same user as the background service user. The next one is if your console user is different than the server that you're connecting to.
Okay, so an example of that would be console user different. So if
Yeah,
I'm
I logged into Windows.
okay.
I launched deploy and inventory as myself, and then on the server, everything's running as the background service user, a different user.
So Vincent versus Katie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This one will prompt you for credentials at the beginning, so that you can type in the credentials of the server that you're going to be connecting to.
Interesting. That being said, doesn't Chris have a PowerShell? I'm looking at Josh.
Yeah. So
yeah.
this is kind of an interactive way to do it, where you're going to get prompted for a credential object, and you give it a console user credentials and connect.
Yeah, if you don't want to sit and type them all in, save them as credential objects.
Yeah, Chris has a PowerShell blog on encrypting PowerShell credentials, and then you can store those here and not have to type anymore.
So I'm talking click. That's my
Yep.
life right there. Do
Yep.
it once, click it. So again, that's in the blog. Look that one up. So
Yeah.
no, I'm sorry. I keep
No,
derailing
you're good.
us a little bit.
It brought
here.
up another point. As a point here, I have two servers, which is obviously a lot less complicated than, if you've got 12 sites. I've hard-coded the server names in here. That's another thing that you could prompt for or save
Oh, very nice.
somewhere else. So,
So putting this all together.
yeah, so I've got these. We'll just pop out of this.
So from the
Illustrated
reading
experience.
version, we'll jump up to our actual console that we're going to run this from on Tyco, your laptop,
Yep.
virtual laptop today.
Pretend laptop, yeah. So I've got the two scripts that we just looked at. I've got them saved here, whether I'm connecting as a different user or the same user. So let's go over here to our administrative PowerShell window. Oh, Colby's got you with the bonus content. We'll make sure there's links somewhere to the blog post and a couple other things which are handy. So we're going to run the scripts. First, we're going to connect to series as the same user. So same user, run the PowerShell script.
It's kind of hard to see because of the color, but basically it's dot same user and then connect same.
Yep. And here go
Yes,
deploy and
there it is.
inventory.
Okay.
And here's the prompt. Ooh, I did good.
Very nice.
Nah, I did not do good.
You did
That's the
not
prompt
do-
that you get. So
Okay,
I set up
so-
series wrong.
Here is now the troubleshooting portion of this.
Yep.
So if you see this, what's the first thing you're thinking? You
I'm like,
might,
oh great.
what's the first thing you think you might have done?
Background service user, console
Boom.
user.
There you go.
Yep.
So if you see that, we're checking background service,
Vincent.
and then we probably need to check our script, make sure it's running as Vincent. at that
Yeah, that
point?
was running at me. Let's get rid of these.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So at this point,
So where is a different user? We're not clear.
so we're going to run this as the different user then. So again, the nice thing is we've got both scripts, right?
Yep,
So
different
we're
user.
running different user. Boom. Log in as Vincent. Password 123. At this point, when these fire up, we should start seeing the same thing. Are we looking at series or Illis? There we go.
Oh, Illis. We're running as Illis. Oh, that's what we got to do. We got to edit the scripts.
Ah, edit our scripts. Okay.
Actually, let's come back to the same user and run as a different
Okay.
user because it's coming in as Illis.
Okay.
So, rewrite. We're going to connect to Illis, who is a different user. We'll look at the scripts in a second.
Okay.
Since I saved them and then I changed the thing. This is
So-
what you get for last minute changes.
So for
As we
the
go.
audience at home, just so to kind of follow through what's going on here is you've got a background service that's a local account, but then we're running into like some console user issues, right?
Oh yeah. See what I did? I launched the script as Quintana, which is a different thing. So it's going to be a different user. But that was the change that I made last minute. I was launching these as Vincent, and then I tried to simplify, but I didn't simplify quite all the way.
So we're kind of getting into that Windows run as context.
Exactly.
And it can get messy at times, especially, you know, as you're trying to do different things as different users, but also from an elevated context that deploy and inventory need to run.
And,
Yeah,
and
I
here's
kinda
why,
twisted road.
again, testing this, and then once you've got it lined out, that blog of Chris has just put it in. You don't have to worry about it anymore.
Exactly.
So,
And then if you go one step further that I didn't do and you pop in the server names, then you're not stuck like I did. I had two examples, two hard-coded things. So,
here we go.
yep. So this one worked. We're logged in. We're connected
We're
to Illis.
Illis?
Yep. And if we pop over here to Illis and reopen this window that shows us the current connections. Nope.
The
If I
console
click the
user
right
set.
button too. There we go.
There it is.
We've got our active sessions and we can see
Tycho
the
right
two
there.
machines. I'm connected. So,
And again, at this point, you are now deploying, let's say this is on the East Coast, we're now deploying to our East Coast machines from the local repository.
yeah,
Again,
this is a great way to you connect to your console machine, which is in the correct time zone, and you set up your schedules and you set up everything that you need over there so that it happens in the correct time zone, and you don't have to do that mental math of I'm in this time zone and time zone is over here, and how do I get
yes,
everything
how do I
to
get
happen
here?
when I
A,
want
B,
it
C,
to.
yes, absolutely. Okay, so again, that script, it pointed us at Illis. We've got our credentials that it got us hooked up, and then obviously
Yep.
we are now looking at that. And any information or any packages we build, any dynamic collections are going to be built on that machine.
Yeah, so let's actually run that different user and connect to Illis. So we're going to connect up to Illis and say that since you've got so many server console machines, you obviously don't want to build the same collections and packages and reports and everything over and over and over again so that you can see what's installed on your laptops or like build a package for your servers.
Illis or Series this time?
No, we're connecting to Illis.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right.
And then I'm going to go over here to Series. I would say in this case,
Okay.
Series has the package, the Office package that you
Oh,
just spent all day
perfect.
working on.
Okay.
Or it's got all of the collections that you just built to find.
Done all the work here.
Yep.
I need to get it from point A to point B. This is great. I love this. I actually learned some stuff yesterday, thank you, Katie, on how to make my life easier because I'm, again, the worst typist I've ever seen. So, JJ, while we're popping this, we got a question?
Yeah.
I have central servers at all locations in the US and Mexico. I want to put one in my Brazil location. Does PDQ support being run in Brazil? Does PDQ offer packages for other countries with deploy? Thank you, Bobby T.
Hey, Bobby.
Sure.
Can you run it in Brazil?
Heck yeah.
I would highly suggest it. Now, do we have packages for specific countries, maybe languages and that? And right
No.
now, it's all in English, guys. So that's where it's at this point. So very
It is,
positive.
yeah, but you can do post steps if you want to change that locale.
Exactly.
If you want to grab the packages that we've published and replace it with the the binaries with whatever language locale you need, you can do that. Does take a conversion to a standard package.
Yep. So
Sometimes you can get sneaky. You used to be able to get sneaky with Firefox and switch out the install file for the language agnostic one, or the language specific one.
Yep. Make
Switch
you
back
know
in English.
sneak replacing the repository there, same file name.
Yeah. It takes a little bit more manual work, but it can be done. We just don't do it for you, sorry.
Love to, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we're back to exporting.
Yep,
importing,
we're at the
exporting?
machine that has all of our good work that we want
The
carried
good
over.
work. Okay.
So
I've done it
two
once.
ways.
I've done it right. Let's not have to make me do it
Do it
twice.
again.
Yes. Okay.
remove a little bit of that human error.
Yeah.
So, I mean, say that you spent a whole bunch of time working on your Office package. First, you'd obviously want to copy over all of your source files, the ISOs and everything, and make sure that those are in each
Absolutely.
repository. Which, if you're using this instead of DFS, you'll want to keep the repositories as local as possible to each site to avoid the potential for carrying traffic over the slow links. But
That being said, though, I mean, again, if you were to load, let's say you're putting this on a machine, what was her name? Terry's old machine
Yeah.
in the East Coast location. If you keep the repository there and you use the repository variable and make sure everything's in there,
Yeah.
it's a good way to keep everything local. So,
yep, so you can take your packages, you can take multiple packages, you could copy an entire folder of packages, but take these two, right click, and export. You'll get an XML file which has all of your packages.
always good to name those so you know what they are. I mean, I never do, but then again, I have to go read everything second time, right? Which is the less efficient way to do it.
Oh, where did I save those? Did you see?
I did not.
I saved them in
Documents.
documents. That's nice. I'll just put them on the desktop. It's easier.
Much easier.
All right, so this is the XML file that we grabbed, and this is the nice thing about copy pasting and deploy an inventory is if you can copy it, it's probably just XML, and you can paste it someplace. So we're going to take this XML file, and you can copy it, you can put it on a flash drive, you can mail it, do whatever you want to do with the XML file, and we're going to go over here to Illis and paste it over here on the desktop too, which that's one of my favorite things to do is
Remote desktop, copy paste. I love it.
Yep.
Absolutely amazing.
So, and then you can come over here on your destination machine and do import, Control-I, whichever you want to do, and find the XML file that we did. 2 packages. You got your 2 packages.
There it is. Well, we
Not
grabbed the
that
whole.
one. We got
No, we
packages too.
grabbed the whole folder. It was great. We got them all.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing is you need to make sure, again, like Katie said, move your install files over. Do
Yep.
we have another question?
Are there any potential conflicts with having the same PCs in 2 central servers? Example, database getting screwed up, etc. Thanks, Kathleen F.
So Kathleen, we'll just say Central Server 1 and Central Server 2. Those are 2 separate databases. And when you point your console at this one, Central Server 2, you're looking at Central Server 2 database. So,
The database lives up there on the server.
yep. So
you
you're
don't
not,
use your local database
yeah,
anymore.
not going to be conflict there. So no. All right. So you showed me something the other day, or yesterday, as a matter of fact, when it comes to doing like schedules
Yep.
and that
Auto reports.
auto reports and schedules. But let's just talk schedules really quick. Let's say you're going to import and export schedules. There's kind of a catch,
Oh, yes.
a caveat on those. Schedules, while Katie's going to do this, I'll tell you about it. So what happens is when you build a schedule, it is based off of a package ID, schedule
Yep.
ID,
So-
dynamic collection ID.
Yeah, so when you come over here and you link to your targets and you choose inventory and you link to a collection, so if we say we're going to wait patiently for inventory, but when you link to a collection in inventory, that schedule references the collection's ID number in the database. So unless you are a magical, special, wonderful unicorn, it's a very good chance that your 2 central servers are not going to have the same collection IDs for all of the collections.
So collection ID 4 on server 1 could be different than collection ID 4 on server 2. And if you do not check that, it is very possible if you're using a reboot schedule in this case, you could be
can't
rebooting
reboot
the
half of
wrong
your
machines
servers.
at the wrong time. So
so terrible.
make sure you eyeball that. Absolutely.
So, that in mind, assume that you've got the, let's see, we'll link this to an OU.
Mhm.
It'll work fine. We'll pick a package.
You got to do it. You got to not do Alexa and name it. Because if you do it like me, it's like new package or new schedule, and then we don't know what it is. Oh, you did
Blank.
it just like me, didn't you?
Yep, let's make sure, let's see. So I'm going to do another thing. You can take your schedule and you can copy it,
Okay.
and then you can go over here
I love
to your
this.
schedule and paste it. I Control-V'd it, but you can paste it. So notice that there's something wrong here. The schedule's not enabled. I mean, obviously you need to come over here to the targets because the collection's gone. You may wind up with a collection that exists and points to the wrong one. Rather than machines that need Firefox, you may wind up with all of my servers.
Yeah,
Bad.
yeah.
Terrible combination.
So always, after you move these, visually verify that you're doing what you want them to do.
Give those schedules a little bit of TLC before you start using them.
Absolutely.
And then the package is gone. That's because we don't have that package over here on this console machine. So I'm going to move it over. I'm going to do the lazy way because we're just RDP sessions and copying it over. Copy, Control-C.
The nice thing about this one is there's no real install files with it because it's a do-a-dir of some type.
Yeah, this is a pretty easy one. So
And then just go add your package again.
Yep.
So when it comes to schedules, check your collections, check your packages, make sure they line up, okay?
Yep.
While you're at it, check your triggers. I mean, you're in it, might as well set it and get it right the first time out the gate, so.
Yep. So there's one other thing. Auto reports and inventory you cannot export, but you can copy paste.
That's
so you
what I
can
learned
copy paste
yesterday.
your
It was
auto reports,
amazing.
and
Thank
then the
you.
same caveats apply. But that one got me for a little while where I was like, why
Yeah.
can't I export these?
Yep.
I really want to.
So again, copy paste between your remote desktop sessions is awesome.
Yes.
Do we have another question, guys?
Upgrading server OS, would you recommend setting an existing client server as the central or just creating one from new? Any potential conflicts with having the same PCs in two central servers? Thanks, guys. JD.
JD?
So if you're updating the operating system on your central server, it's not too terrible to just stand up a new server and move it. It's pretty easy. Just grab the databases or
Backup and
repositories.
restore. It's really quick.
We've got links if you want to hit us in support. We can.
Yeah, there's some KBs there. It's how to move PDQ deploy, move PDQ inventory on the support site. As far as the conflicts of having two PCs and two central servers, the one thing that I'm thinking is if you're running the same credentials on both, you might run into some Windows errors like multiple connections to a shared resource are not allowed, this, that, and the other. If your scan timings are the same on that one target or you're deploying at the same time, if you're hitting that same target over and over and over, I could see you running into issues. But that's kind of that's a timing issue, not really anything else.
So here's my question. We're upgrading the OS where the central server is.
Yep.
I mean, is it okay for it to be down long enough to just do it and then you don't have to move it? That's the question. If it is, I wouldn't bother moving it. I mean, back it up by all means, back it up. But, downtime, do the upgrade, the OS upgrade, fire it up and verify, everything's good. Because I don't think the OS upgrade should affect it unless it, jacks the machine. If that's the case, as long as you got a backup, boom, you can move it. So, Do we have any other questions?
Yep, we got a few more. All right, we're going to speed round it. The PDQ.com corporation cert is expiring tomorrow. How will that be addressed? Thanks, Tony M.
Magic.
I can help with this one.
It's
I
not
hope
magic, Lex,
It's
just
already
to
been
be clear.
It's not.
not magic.
It's a code signing certificate. It's been replaced. If you grab some of the newer packages from the library and look at it, you'll see that there's a new certificate there. So it's already been replaced. You're just going to see the signature from the previous code signing cert that does expire.
Come on, I like the magic.
I know, it's not.
It was
Yeah.
magic. It happened over there.
Yeah.
It'll be magic to all of our viewers out there.
Everybody who
'Cause it'll
doesn't
work.
care how it works, but it's just going to work for you. We got to take care for you.
All right, next question from our good friend Billy Z. Does the remote server need to share a DNS server with the remote clients it manages? What if you use a public DNS? Thanks, guys.
You do need to have a DNS server. You may not necessarily need to share the DNS server. For example, if you're a one-man shop and you go around to distinct clients, each client would need their own DNS server. You probably wouldn't want,
It would be a
the
hassle
print
to
shop
have-
down the street
yeah.
with the nonprofit down the street to share a DNS server.
long
Public
as-
DNS is going to cause you a problem, though, because
I was
how
gonna
does
say,
public DNS know what all your machines are doing?
Rule of thumb is this, right? Central server A, central server B, they both need their own DNS.
Yep.
They don't necessarily have to be the same, but they need one that works for the stuff they're managing.
Yeah. If they share one, like if it's headquarters and sites, and they share the same DNS server, that's fine, too.
Yeah.
But public DNS is usually a problem. If you're pointing to 8.8.8.8, deploy and inventory don't work too well with that. 'cause-
I wondered why you'd want your internal machines out of there anyways. Not my favorite place to do it, but you know, it might be reasons.
Works for some people.
That's true.
Well, not with deploying inventory, but other things.
Yeah. What else we got?
All right. It takes quite some time to open the help menu F1 on my client's apps. Why is this? Will there be a fix in the future? I hope so. Evan R.
Evan, we
Yeah.
want you to contemplate the meaning of life as the help stuff comes up.
It's a break, so you can go make yourself a sandwich.
A coffee, possibly check out. There might be some stuff on the videos. All right, I don't know. There's a really
Or
good answer there.
You
but
could type an email to support@pdq.com because I haven't heard that one. That one sounds a little bit weird. It doesn't sound like a known bug or a feature or anything. So
I have an idea.
what do you got?
I mean,
So help actually, when you open help, it spins up a little web server. It's in the background.
oh, it does, doesn't
does.
it? Oh, hell.
So you might have, it might be just some latency between your clients and server, some bandwidth issues there. I would see if that's it, because you might not see it with regular client operations because there's some caching that happens.
What he said. I like his answer best.
All right. We have one client server currently running 2016, so should I make that the central or make new one central? JD.
Assuming that that's not your machine that you use, I would say just make that one the central server, and then maybe make your laptop the client or your workstation the client.
I think it's
I
really,
mean, with my
it's-
5-second introduction to your environment.
I think it's up to you, really. I mean, if it makes sense, by all means.
There-
Again, the nice thing is, it's where you have the central server. It's going to matter that you have power and drive speed and that kind of thing. So that's more important than where your client is at this point.
Yeah, there's also some KBs out there on how to do that and how to make that determination. And then especially if you need to merge a bunch of different things, maybe some local and everything, get it all into one. There's some KBs out there that can help you with that.
Yeah, I think a lot of them boil down to you pick the one with the most work done, the one that has the most packages and collection, like the things that you want to lose least. You pick that server and you transfer anything else up to that server, and you just keep it as the boss.
Path of least resistance.
There you
Exactly.
go. There it is. And then if you need to move it after that, backup restore. It's super easy.
The speed round continues.
Continue.
Suggestions on how to copy packages to multiple sites and set up the deployments to use their local site repositories. Essentially, set up PDQ deploy to mirror distribution points in SCCM. Thanks, guys. Geo.
So, Geo, I would say flat out, if you want to make it super easy, DFS is the way to go.
Yeah, I mean you're going to be in a lot of manual work if you want to have a bunch of manual ones and expect them to work like SCCM. You're going to have to be SCCM copying things over. If you can swing DFS will do the copying and the replication for you.
Absolutely. Now, that being said, if DFS is not an option, I would imagine I would try and PowerShell a routine copy that moves my install files between the different sites. Not the prettiest way to go, but it will do it. And again, I don't have to do it myself, and I'm the laziest guy, short of, well, maybe Josh and you, yeah, okay. Do it the easiest way you can, really. And DFS would be my suggestion.
Okay, just a couple more. Having no unified layout / organizational hierarchy is a hassle with just one server. Any chance of offering that option? Ryan J.
I can't say that we have that on
I-
any sort of a roadmap. That
That
sounds
is
like a new
really
one.
don't-
broad.
I don't know that I understand the question.
I mean,
Like, is it permissions or is it
organizational.
like having a boss console machine and a whole bunch of other console machines under
Or is it
organized?
organizing things in the consoles themselves? Because you can create
Could be.
folders, you can change their icons, you can
Most places.
arrange things there.
That's a tough one, Ryan. Maybe hit support up on a little more detail on what you're actually looking for.
Please.
Yeah. Is that all the questions?
We got another
One more?
question. Excellent. I
Hit us.
love the fact it's so. I love. There it is.
Okay, last one. I have been working with Central Server and am experiencing quite a few performance issues with the client PCs. Help? Paul C.
Client PCs. So everybody who's attaching to the central server.
Well, one thing I would suggest if you're on an older version like 15 or 16 to update to 18. Right now 18's a heck of a lot better than that.
Yeah.
If you're on 18, maybe hit us up in support and see. Because there are some things that we can help you fix and some things that we can maybe kick over to development and see what they think.
And a couple of things, if you're going to hit up support, things I'm pretty sure they're going to ask you is like, hey, what does your network traffic look like? Are you using standard ports?
Yeah.
Are you jumping subnets? I mean, there's a bunch of things that, the more
Give us-
detail you can give with that, I mean, obviously, they're going to be able to point you in the right direction.
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely more info, please.
Yeah. Well, that's it, guys. I mean, multiple central servers
Yeah.
with one console, scripting between the two of them. I mean, think about it, MSPs, time zones. You just want to separate. We can do this here, but I don't want everyone controlling everything else. Separating out control of your systems. It's the way to do it, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you.
I'm Lex.
I'm Katie.
We'll catch y'all later.
Thanks for joining the show today, guys. We hope you learned something and maybe even had a little bit of fun. Congrats to our webcast swag winners for the day, which are Billy H, Bobby T, and JD. Guys, congrats on winning. You can email webcast@pdq.com to let us know what you'd like out of our different swag items and where we should send it. Other than that, everyone, make sure you check out our YouTube where there's lots of informational and fun videos. Have a great day and weekend.